All right, so last episode we talked about how we prefer not to get swept by the Braves in Atlanta, but our record historically in that godforsaken city, in that godforsaken state, has been atrocious. We just cannot win down in hot Atlanta, and so I didn't really have high expectations going into it. I thought maybe we could definitely possibly steal one of three, and who knows if we can get two of three, right? And it looked like in the first game with Cookie Carrasco on the bump, I kind of chalked that up as like, it's probably an L. But through 5 innings, we're up 4-1. And it looked like maybe the tides are turning. You know, maybe we've turned the page, we flipped the script. And that sixth inning, everything came apart. So we get down 5-4. And then the bullpen lets up another run late in the game to make it 6-4. That's a game I felt like we let escape from us. Is that a game where you would have liked Buck to probably go to the bullpen a little bit earlier and save Cookie so he doesn't get into that mess? But, who are you going to bring in? And we'll get into this when we talk about the trade deadline, because I don't know there are a lot of dependable, reliable arms that you can bring in out of the bullpen that can come in and you feel strongly about holding or stopping the damage, stopping the bleeding. Carrasco was doing his thing, and he looked like the Carrasco of the past 2 or 3 starts, where this is kind of uncharted territory for Cookie. Like, we haven't seen him pitch like this in a Mets uniform. So I was excited about the renaissance of Cookie. Like, that sounds like a great story. The fact that he's overcome so much in his career and in his personal life, and putting up what I would consider to be the best he's put up in a Mets uniform. And so I thought we were getting more of that with this game. And then, of course, it all comes undone in that 6th inning. So Drew Smith is the next guy up. And in a deeper bullpen, Drew Smith is not getting this many innings and appearances. And I think once the bullpen feels fixable, right? Starting rotation, it feels like we're kind of we're in this quagmire, and I don't see us getting out unless we make some bold moves, bold decisions. I have a hot take. I will save it for that section when we do talk about the trade deadline. But Drew Smith is not the guy. And I know I've given a lot of leash to some other players, namely Daniel Vogelback, who appears to be on his way to being DFA'd. There are a lot of bats that go through slumps for long stretches of time. And I remember Lucas Duda. I don't know why that sticks out to me, but Lucas Duda was sent down to the minors after like 6 weeks of slumping, comes back and is able to put up some numbers. So it's a long season for batters, a long season for pitchers, but I just don't have any kind of confidence in Drew Smith whatsoever. Anytime I see he's coming in, I'm just like, well, that's at least a run that we just given up. So, but there are not many options. I mean, Jeff Brigham has been, like we've said, from week to week, seems to be one of the more consistent guys that's not a setup man, right? Ottavino has had his struggles and troubles, and he had a walk and an earned run, 2 hits, and his 1 inning in that 6-4 loss. Pete Alonso goes 1 for 4 with 2 ribbies. Lindor 1 for 3 with the 2 ribbies. McNeil the run scored. Narvaez coming back off the IL, 1 for 2 of the runs scored. Good to see him in the lineup, and I think it gives you, with him back and with Alvarez cooking, this lineup becomes more versatile and more explosive and powerful. And they certainly held up their end of the bargain in this Brave series. It was not on the offense per se. Sean Murphy was a problem for us, 1 for 4, 2 ribbies. Ozzy Albies, 1 for 3 with a ribby. Marcelo Zuna, who should be in jail, 1 for 4, 2 ribbies. Orlando Arcia, a new Mets killer, and now in the mix. Orlando Arcia, 2 for 3 with a ribeye. So, I didn't know that. I thought we had a shot here, and we did, and we let it slip away. So 4 hits, not great. That's not going to win you many games. So you could say that the offense kind of sputtered, right? It had that big 3rd inning and then nothing. just goose eggs for the rest of the game. So, that would be like the least of our concerns in this Braves series. I mean, the next day, June 7th, we're up 2-1, and we're up 4-1, 4-3, and then our bullpen can't come through in the 7-5 loss. Max Scherzer in the first 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, and I think 5 of the 6 hits were like infield hits or something like that. Some crazy statistic. Strikeouts were high, and it seemed like, all right, we have this. We're in cruise control. We got this. And then just as it happened with Cookie, it happens with Max. Wheels come off in the 6th inning. He gives up 5 more hits and 4 more earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. And then Ottavino gives up another earned run and another appearance, back-to-back appearances, giving up an earned run. Tommy Pham 1 for 2, 3 RBIs and runs scored. Brett Beatty had a ribeye. Jeff McNeil 1 for 4 with a run scored. Lindor 1 for 3 with a run scored. Alvarez 1 for 4 with a ding dong. But we got to Charlie Morton. I think Charlie Morton has been kind of a thorn in our side. There was some crazy stat about Charlie Morton where like he's now had. It's he and R.A. Dickey in terms of number of wins after the age of 36, I want to say. 35, 36. He had like 26 wins or something like that in his first however many years, dozen years. And then he's had like 40 some odd wins ever since he turned 36. So good on you, Charlie Morton. Even though you're brave and I hate the Braves, I am an old, as they say. And so it's good to see that old people can still do stuff. But we did get to him. He only pitched 4 2/3, 4 hits, 4 earned, 4 walks, 5 Ks. Yet again, Sean Murphy was a problem, and Michael Harris was the one with the big blow. 3 for 4, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. So, that one was tough. Had the lead, gave up the lead late in the game. That's just that was the story of the series. We got out front, and that's, stay ahead, get ahead, stay ahead. That was the mantra going into this. Like if we get the statistics have proven and shown, like when we get a quality start from our starter and we score first, like the stars align and we churn out dubs. But that's just wasn't the case in Atlanta against the Braves this series. Thursday was the backbreaker for a lot of fans, a lot of Mets fans, and a lot of people just in sports media, saying like that's got to be the worst Mets loss. Sometimes people are saying ever, and it's like, you probably haven't been around long enough to see a lot of the Mets losses that these eyes done seen, because they've had some pretty brutal losses. And I think a lot of people, myself included, were not expecting this, but not shocked and not surprised that this happened. I mean, the fact that Tommy Hunter's on the rubber, toeing the rubber in the extra innings against like the meat and potatoes, the heart of the Braves lineup, it's like probably not making out of this series alive, out of this game alive. What's the blame that I put for this game is on Justin Verlander. My man went 3 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned, 4 walks, 3 Ks. I didn't like the signing coming into this. I didn't like it, and I was against it. And I'll go to the videotape. Let's go to the records, the archives, and you'll see that I did not want Justin Verlander on this team. And there are stats to prove why the combination of him and Scherzer is not a good omen for the Mets in terms of making the playoffs and making it far in the playoffs. Again, I'm a fan. When we signed him, I'm like, all right, got to give him the support. And I'm here to support as a fan. But at the same time, he's not giving us quality starts from week to week, start to start. And I think that starting pitching out of everything and anything is our biggest crutch. And it's going to kill us for the rest of the season. I really do think that. Because I don't know that 2 dudes on the precipice of 40 are going to magically endure 162 games and into October. I just don't see that happening. I have a lot of belief in this team, in this offense, and I think the bullpen is fixable. I think those areas are we're okay. I'm not ringing the alarms. I'm not raising any flags. Like that to me feel all right about that kind of stuff. The starting pitching is I would say an unmitigated disaster. Is that an overreaction? Maybe, but we're just not. We don't have it. Even Kodai Senga, who has been probably our number one. Statistically, he's our number one pitcher. He's the one giving us the most quality starts. He's the one that's been as consistent as you can be. And even his starts and his quality starts, there's like, it is not smooth. There are a few innings mixed in there where you're just like, it could get real ugly real quick. So, yeah, it just that game 3 of that series, having seen the previous 2 games and knowing our history in Atlanta and knowing the Braves, it was just like, I'm glad that we're fighting and we keep pushing back and we keep getting ahead and keep pushing forward. But yeah, I wasn't like shocked and awed that they were able to get back. I completely forgot that we are pretty good against Spencer Strider. I just always forget that, like, because it must be his quads that throw me off. You know, because you look at on paper, his stat line, it's like, oh, he's just gonna come in and mow us down, and we have his number. He went 4 innings, 8 hits, 8 earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and my God, you'd think that would be a W. You'd think that'd be a win for us, but no dice. The back 3 of the 5 pitchers that the Atlanta used managed to corral us. Michael Tonkin came in, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned in 2 innings, and then it was nothing from that point on. Joe Jimenez went 2 innings, struck out 3. Jesse Chavez, an inning, only allowed a hit and 2 strikeouts, and then Raisel Iglesias, 2 strikeouts. So they really clamped down after the first 6 innings when we were just pumping them. Nimmo with a grand slam. I think that was the first grand slam of his career, which is wild to think about. Alvarez 2 for 5, 3 ribbies, 2 runs. Lindor 2 for 4. This was our first game without Pete because Pete got hit in the wrist in the previous game. And there's video or audio of the Braves fans taunting Pete and like jeering him or cheering that he got hurt. And I know I'm a petty son of a bitch. And in my head, it's like, we have got to retaliate at some point. No, we have got to throw at someone on the Braves, right? Someone that is like their top performer, maybe their number 1 hitter. Like, I am all for rattling them. At least, and I thought that's what Verlander was going for, and a lot of our pitchers where they were throwing high and tight and inside, and it's like, I would like to continue to do that and make them uncomfortable in the box. And it just sucks. Like, he's, I guess he's out 3 to 4 weeks. It's not a break, but you know how these things go with the Mets. Like, these initial reports are never correct. And so I wouldn't be shocked if he's out more than 3 to 4 weeks, given how things happen with the Mets and the track record there. But it's unfortunate. And I tweeted out after this loss, like, everyone's acting like the season's over. And we're not even halfway through June, and there's 99 games left. Can you imagine saying, oh, the season's over with 99 games left? Maybe if I'm an A's fan, I would say it's over. Maybe. But, and I'm sure there have been seasons in the past with different teams, different executives, coaches, managers, ownership, that I might have counseled, as they say. But that's not the case this year. It just can't be. I refuse to throw in the towel. Starting pitching is a problem. I don't see us going like if this rotation holds for the rest of the year, and that's like our one through, with the exception of Quintana coming back, you have Scherzer, Verlander, Kodai, Quintana, Cookie. That's your 1 through 5. I don't know that I have the utmost confidence in that rotation, and I think that that needs to be addressed. And I have a few theories on how to address that, none of which will actually come to fruition. But so then we go to Pittsburgh. No days off. We go right into Pittsburgh the day after an excruciating loss, and Tyler McGill just fails to show up. And he's failed to show up in away games. It seems like he gives his best performances at home, and when he's on the road, maybe he's homesick. I don't know. He misses his mama, something. Because he went 3 2/3, 8 hits, 7 earned, 3 walks, 1 K. And so from that point on, it was just a home run derby. It was just like, go, crack. Like just watching balls just explode off the bat into the stands off Zach Muckerhern and Tommy Hunter. And we didn't do much offensively until the end when we scored 5 in the top of the 9th. But that Jack Sawinski, center fielder, he is a problem. 3 for 4 runs, 2 RBIs. Cabrian Hayes, their third baseman, 5 for 5, 3 runs, 4 RBIs. And they had 3 other dudes, Bay, Palacios, and Hedges, all with 2 RBIs each. So, yeah, it was just, that one was like, all right. Apparently Buck had a closed door meeting after the loss after this game or the previous game. I want to say it was this game, but maybe it was the previous game. If it was the previous game, it didn't really work because we lost by a touchdown in this one, 14-7. Dick Mountain, Rich Hill. Man, wouldn't you like to have Rich Hill back? It's like, I started to think about all the Mets pitchers that we just like gave up on. Chris Bassett, Marcus Stroman, Rich Hill. Like, can you just imagine if we had those 3 in the mix right now, what our lives would be like and what our record would be like? Understandably, Stroh was a bit of a headache. Can be a pain in the ass. Bassett, though, it seemed like he was a pretty good fit in the clubhouse. And then Rich Hill, it's like, yeah, he's old, and I know I just like basically ranted about how we shouldn't be like signing old pitchers, but he just seems like he's just Jamie Moyer-esque, and I forget the stat, but he had like he was like the first pitcher over some age to have pitched 7, and I don't know. But it just seems like that's happening every game where it's like the opponent's doing something they haven't done in a long time. So that sucked, but we come back the next day and we have Kodai on the mound. And this game I felt very strongly about. I was like, all right, here's the game we win. And we stop the bleeding. We turn things around. Kodai on the mound, he's our best chance of getting a win. And sure enough, he dishes. He gives us the goods. 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. He had 1 earned run allowed, 2 hits, 4 walks, 6 Ks for a 73 game score. We did commit 3 errors. And this ball game was knotted up at 1 through 6. And then our offense woke up a little bit and managed to secure the victory. David Robertson, an inning and 2 strikeouts, and Adam Ottavino, an inning and a strikeout to secure the win for us. Mark Canha, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Alvarez, 1 for 4 with an RBI, and Tommy Pham, yet again, 2 for 4 with 2 runs. You can't not have him in the lineup. And as weird as it is to say, like the blow, the loss of Alonso is a major blow, but it almost gives more guys more opportunities, and maybe they start to catch fire. I don't know. I'm trying to put a spin zone and positive on this Alonso thing because I think that's tough. I mean, he's our best hitter across the board in almost every category. So, and other than Maybe Lindor and Alvarez, our best slugger. So I just woof. But it does allow for, I guess Pham, who's feeling it right now, to get more at bats. Canha, you don't have to pick between Canha and Pham. You can have them both in the lineup, which is good. There's the ability to have we're getting to see more lineups and more configurations that we have in the past. And that's probably a product of like Buck realizing, okay, what I'm putting out there day to day, every day is just not really clicking. And, he gave Lindor a rest, and they brought up Guillorme with Alonso out. They bring up Guillorme. He goes 1 for 3, the run scored. And Lindor's at DH. He went 0 for 4. Not great, but Mets are 7-0 when the starting pitcher goes 7 or more innings. 7-0. Now, I realize that the average innings pitched per start has gone down league-wide. I get it. But Kodai is really the only dude giving us 7 innings. I think Scherzer did it once. Verlander did it once. They're not doing it on a consistent basis. Kodai is the only pitcher in the National League this season with multiple starts of at least 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs allowed, and 2 hits or fewer allowed. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the AL to do that so far. So that, to me, that win was huge. Obviously, it stops the 7-game losing streak, and it feels like, okay, maybe we're turning a corner here. Like, that's just what we needed. We just have to get off the schneid. It doesn't matter how, just get a W and stop losing. And so I really thought going into Sunday's game that we had a pretty good shot of taking the series. We had Cookie back on the mound, and it's like, which Carlos Carrasco are we going to get? We're going to get the guy from not the last start or the first. Could we get the first 4 innings or 5 innings, the last starter of Carrasco, and maybe he can just survive into the 5th and 6th? Or are we going to get the guy who ultimately collapses in the 5th and 6th? And it turns out it was the guy who collapses in the 5th and 6th. He entered into the 5th inning. He goes 4 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned, 3 walks, 1 K. The walks, again, crucial. I think, even Senga in his start, like, it wasn't exactly rainbows and unicorns, man, the whole time. There were like 2 or 3 innings where he's getting out of those by the skin of his teeth. He had Nimmo. It was like a bases loaded, big knock to center field. Nimmo goes up against the wall and catches it to end the inning. He had another inning that, could have got out of hand and had a lot of runs come in and escapes. So it wasn't exactly like he completely dominated, and he did have some issues with walks. Again, he still has to get that under control. He's still not able to minimize the walks. So it just feels like it's an issue with a lot of the Mets pitching, just walks and walks and walks. And while we get walks and don't score, the opposing team always takes advantage of the walks that we give up. So this was an ugly loss. 2-1. Nimmo's 0 for 3, Alvarez 0 for 4. Lindor 0 for 3, Beatty 0 for 3, Narvaez 0 for 3, Vientos 0 for 2, Guillorme 0 for 1. I mean, this Mitch Keller dude basically pulled off a Kodai Senga. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks. I think McCutchen got his 2,000th hit or something like that. Yet again, Jack Sawinski 2 for 4 with a ding dong. So I mean, the Pirates are in first place, and while we kind of wrote them off after they settled down after their hot start, they have picked it back up, and they are now looking like they could be the division winner in the NL Central. So those 2 series, 1 for 6, not great.